Back, my colleague Priscilla was sitting in for me while I was away. And thank you for holding in for me, Priscilla, and for you viewers keeping on watching. I am back to continue, but at a closing note for this year. And tonight we're talking about agriculture, value chains, and agricultural development. And in the studio, my guest is Mr. David Wozemba, who is the country director, AGRA. It resembles agriculture, but it's AGRA. He's going to tell us what AGRA is. Mr. David Wozemba, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
What do you do at AGRA? And there's this thing you're working on called Comprehensive African Agriculture Program. Tell us what AGRA is and that program.
Thank you, moderator. I'm glad to be on TV this evening. AGRA, Alliance for Green Revolution for Africa, is a development organization with its roots, its base in Nairobi, headquartered in Nairobi. It's an African-based institute that does work in agriculture across a number of African countries. We're in 15 countries, and largely we cover, all areas within the agricultural sector. We, as AGRA, pride ourselves for being the pioneers of transforming the agricultural systems in Africa, because we understand the African context, and we're an African institution, and we're based in Africa, and we work with Africans and African governments. Okay. So the Comprehensive African Agriculture Program is something sort of new, I understand. Please take us through briefly. Sure. The Comprehensive African Agriculture Development Program is an initiative that was started by African Union as a framework to catalyze or accelerate investment in agriculture, increase agricultural productivity, but among all, catalyze food systems in Africa. It is housed in African Union, and it's implemented by African governments. And it sits in each of the African countries. Each of them take ownership of the Comprehensive African Agriculture Development Program because it defines the framework in which all countries in Africa can be able to leverage the partnerships that exist in country and invest in the right sectors that will drive growth in the sector. Okay. At the link here, we like to focus on individuals and maybe entities and farms, FIR and FAR, both of them. And in this case, it's appropriate. So I'm a large-scale farmer, or I'm a smallholder, but very serious in business. And I'm hearing about this program, and I'm thinking, that's a government thing. Please bring me on board. How does it work for me also? Sure. To a large extent, I can, bear witness that CADAP, as its acronym states, is meant to accelerate investment in agriculture. Who invests in agriculture? It is the farmer. Who supports the farmer to invest? It's the government that provides the enabling environment. Who actually ensures that that farmer benefits from what they are actually investing in agriculture is the private sector, who plays an important intermediary role of actually absorbing what the farmer has produced. And who actually consumes it? It is us, both the farmer and the general public who exist. So we are all in it, that as a farmer, as a farm, and others in the partnership, we benefit from the framework that allows us to increase that investment because there are a number of benefits that come with it. Two, increasing productivity at large, one at household level, at the least level of a household as a farmer, you will see that your incomes will increase. You'll be able to have money in your pocket. Secondly, you'll be able to have food because it's important to have food. Food security is critical. And then thirdly, we will be able to help the government raise more revenue. So the three pillars are critical in an ecosystem where a farm or a farmer exists. So a farm in its entirety does not exist because it exists there. It exists because it's playing in an ecosystem where they see value in whatever is being produced at different levels.
So is the program ecosystem bound? Like, let me ask you the question: do you work with government? Do you work with cooperatives? Do you work with everyone? How do you do that?
Sure, that's the essence of saying we're looking at transformation of the agriculture systems. Yeah. How does the agricultural systems exist? They don't exist in isolation. They don't exist linear. They exist in an ecosystem. And each of the actors within the ecosystem have an important role they play. Yeah. The government is very, very critical in setting the pace and creating an enabling environment for all actors. You know, the private sector are the most important in that space. The farmer is the most unique identifier. That whatever you're talking about, there must be somebody who produces it.
So to benefit from the program,
yeah,
I need to go to government, or I come to AGRA?
Now, definitely you don't need necessarily, there are trickle-down benefits that will find you there. And where the opportunity allows, then you have an interface. You interface with the government. Yeah. The government provides you a solution on where you're lacking. But in essence, when AGRA provides a solution for you to access inputs, then you're benefiting indirectly. You know, when AGRA works with finance institutions to provide access to finance, then you're benefiting directly. So this CADA program realizes that it's important that we don't necessarily give out handouts, but we catalyze systems that work for each of us in that ecosystem.
That makes sense. And you are focused on 5 crops.
Sure.
Which are those crops? And I'm a commercial farmer, I'm listening and saying, where the focus is and why those crops?
Sure, sure. As AGRA, to a large extent, of course, some of them mirror what CADA framework is. And I want to be honest in the way that the government designs what they call priority crops. Yeah. And priority crops are important for a number of reasons. 1, for food security. 2, for income security. 3, for nutrition security. All those are areas where we all consider when we're making a choice on which value chain to select and engage in. You don't engage in because you feel good about engaging. You engage because they provide a strategic solution to the country and to the other actors. So we've chosen, for example, our entry points has been in maize, in beans, in soya bean, in coffee, in the oil crops. Some of the oil crops are like soya, sunflower. So the investments that we're making across Uganda generally are intended to, 1, support the government in providing solutions in, for example, the seed system. As AGRA, we invest heavily in the seed systems framework, where we provide catalytic funds for actors there to make sure that they remove the barriers within the seed system. We are providing solutions that are scalable in sustainable farming. We ensure that those solutions reach the farmer and they can be scaled. The farmer has access to solutions that can be useful for them to beat the changes that are happening.
For instance, irrigation?
Irrigation, is one of the sustainable farming solutions. Irrigation is one of, mechanization is one of them. Access to fertilizer is one of the solutions that may enhance soil fertility as a solution to sustainable farming. All those are options that we're actually targeting and leveraging on. Thirdly, is also to ensure that at the end of the day, this farmer has access to market. They don't just produce out of the blue. So the choice of the value chains are also anchored on, are they marketable? Can this farmer go to the market and be able to sell? They don't just produce and then look for market. They produce because the market exists. So our selection, our choice of the value chains is based on our critical analysis of the opportunities within the market in which we can supply. And
so you are advising me, Director, that now that you have said 5 crops,
sure,
I'm going to listen, can I make a decision as a commercial farmer to go there because AGRA and government are there?
To a large extent, your choice of decision is informed by some of the research. It could be informed by your previous work that you've done in there, before you want to go in there. Or if you're not comfortable, look for information that we have. And we can provide that information to give you hope that if you invest rightly, then you can have...
So I can come to you for information?
Sure.
Okay, very interesting, because that's actually the most important thing for the commercial farmer. Information is critical. Okay, very interesting. So, and I take away for me, if AGRA is putting money in the seed system, that means, does that mean that I can be a provider of seed to government for onward giving to farmers? Is that correct?
Possibly the way you described it is not right. The market exists out there because the producers of seed are supposed to generally look out for where the buyers of seed or those who have interest in seed. And the government could be one of those that have interest. You know, but the bigger majority are the farmers. The farmers are generally looking out to actually invest in seed. And why they invest in seed? Because it's a critical input in their production. In order for them to actually recognize that there is value in what they're doing, they need to put in an investment. They don't need free handouts. So to a large extent, yes, even when the government provides catalytic solutions in the way that it directs the farmer to test some ideas, to a large extent, the farmer should be going ahead to actually invest in seed and say, yes, I see a good seed in an agro dealership, I want to buy it, and I have some money and I can pay. But if the government can help me also, you know, with a subsidy, that's good. But we don't recommend subsidies because they never help. They are not for long. They're only for a bridge, a solution for a short time.
And they cause distortion. Our final question, Director. There's a conference to this effect coming in January. In 40 seconds. Tell us what it is about and who can attend. I'm listening. Can I come?
Sure. The CADAP Summit, generally the last 10 years, the strategy and action plan for the the comprehensive agriculture, African agriculture development program was launched in Malabo in 2014. It's a 10-year strategy. Now, this 10-year strategy has expired. The next strategy is going to be launched in Kampala, and it's going to be called Kampala Declaration. You know, this 10-year strategy moving from 2025 to 2034 is intended to give hope to all African countries on the solution, the framework in which they can develop their agriculture moving forward. So we as Ugandans should be proud and be willing to be out there and say the next 10 years of African strategic direction on agriculture
is going to be Kampala Declaration.
Kampala Declaration.
Where and when is this conference?
It is going to be in Munyonyo starting on the 9th up to 11th of January.
Who can attend?
Can I
attend a small me?
No, you could. And to a large extent, there will be a registration that will be going out by African Union because African Union owns it in its entirety. So you can register, go to the African Union website, register, and then if you've been vetted and you're accepted, you'll be part of the conference.
Our time runs out. I feel bad already when I want to continue.
But also it will be live on TV, so we can catch on. You can still catch on TV.
Thank you so much, Dr. David Wozemba, Country Director, AGRA, on the upcoming conference, but most importantly, the 5 areas in terms of crops that AGRA and governments of Africa focused on. If you're a commercial farmer, you have heard. Don't say we didn't give information. If you want more information, go to AGRA on why those crops and opportunities that lie therein. That was the link. Thank you for